All right, welcome back to the closet. This is Kyle. I was just taking a shower, and I was doing some thinking. And I was thinking to myself, what would you do for $1 million? And then the reason that question is interesting to me is the question, I think the real question in that question is, are you for sale? And I really believe, and I've had these questions asked of me since I was a wee lad, and I really believe that I'm not for sale. So I had a question, would you jump off a cliff for $1 million? And I was like, well, am I going to survive? Like, am I jumping off with a bungee cord? Am I jumping off into the water? Like, what's going on here? And of course, the example of the question is, well, you're obviously going to survive. You're jumping off into a lake. And I'd go, well, yeah, I'd jump off a cliff into a lake for $1 million. Like, I do that for free, so obviously I'd take the money. But if I was going to, break a leg or something, then no. And I can hear you go, oh, that's a lie, Kyle. Of course you would. You can fix the broken leg, and you have $1 million to spare after the hospital bills. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, but I wouldn't do it for free, because why would I want to go through that for any amount of money? And they go, oh, well, Kyle, what do you mean? Like, what if I gave you $1 billion to jump off the cliff? And that really makes me think. Because, I don't know, would you? Would you jump off? Okay, if you knew you were going to live, but you'd break a leg, would you jump off a cliff for $1 billion? Think about all you could do with $1 billion. And I was really in the shower before I decided to record this, because I was fully committed to getting out of the shower and going to bed. But I had this thought, and I had to talk about it in the closet on this podcast. And it's a genuine question. Are you stupid to say no to all the money in the world to jump off the cliff? Well, let's rewind a little bit. Are we for sale? Are we? I mean, we go to work, right? We spend time, right? We go to work. Let's think of a sewage cleaner person. You literally, from Dirty Jobs. You literally got to go into a sewage full of people's, stuff and clean it for a certain amount of money. Now, are these individuals for sale? But that if they had a better option, they'd do it, or would they? Or do they really think that what they are doing for humankind is noble and good, and that's why they're getting paid for it? Are they for sale? Are we for sale? That's the question. The super duper philosophical question that I was asking myself while I was taking a shower just now. And I have no idea where to go with this. That was the only question I thought of. And I'm only 3 minutes and 23 seconds in, and I'm wondering how I'm going to make this last the average half an hour. But we're going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. We're going to make this last a half an hour here. So back to my question: Would you jump off a cliff for $1 billion? And I don't know. I want to say no. I want to say, no, I wouldn't do it for free. I'm not for sale. You can't buy my soul. No, I'm not going to cause bodily harm to myself for any amount of money. But what if I had a child and the child was dying of some curable disease, but the cure was quite expensive and I couldn't afford it? Let's say, well, I don't really know, but okay, Kyle, would you jump off a cliff for $1 billion while your child is sick with a curable disease, but the cure is expensive? Well, at that point, it's not about me, right? It's about the kid that I brought into the world, and I can bring the kid back to a life of normalcy just because I broke a leg. I'll take all the money for that. I'd do anything for my kid, right? So would you, so would my parents, so would any regular, normal parent in the world, right? They would do anything to save their kid, right? Anything? I don't know, because obviously there are certain lines we won't cross, and those lines are kind of awkward to go into, so I'll try to back up a little bit. I won't go to the extreme, but I'll go more extreme. Okay, Kyle, you have a kid who's dying of a curable illness, but the cure is very expensive. I will give you $1 billion, which is more than enough to afford the cure and then some. But you have to murder someone. You have to go out into the world, find a completely innocent person, and murder them. Will you do it? And of course, the moral answer is, well, no. But why? Why is that the moral answer? Okay, well, I'm trading this individual's life for my child. This individual, rationally speaking, has lived more of a life, has had more of an opportunity than my child, and therefore maybe, tit for tat, it's an equal trade, if not more than so, right? Does that make sense? I don't know, probably not. I think it does. But what are you doing? If your child, if you went out and murdered someone, and your child lived and was 20, and said, wow, Dad, I remember when I was sick, and all of a sudden I wasn't sick, and we were rich. How'd you do it, Dad? I've been proud of you for the past 15 years. I don't know how you did it. How'd you do it? Well, son, now either I'd have to lie, or I'd tell the truth, and of course I believe in always telling the truth, so I'd either say, I can't tell you that, or I'd say, oh, I killed someone. And if I raised my child with any level of morality, I'd imagine they'd be a little confused. They'd look up, regardless of how old they are, they'd look up and see their father, who in their mind had worked so hard to save them. They'd see him as a murderer for them. He murdered someone so that I would live. Now, how would that make that kid feel? Oh, well, Kyle, it would make him feel infinitely better than, being dead. Oh, wow, I'm really out on a limb here. Oh, only 7 minutes in, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this question. Oh, my goodness. What do you do? How do you figure this out? Are you for sale? Am I for sale? Should we be for sale? Should we not have principles that cannot be bought away? If murder is always bad, can you put a price tag on it? The life of your child. Will that pay for you to murder someone? I think not. I want to say not. There's this classic, when it comes to the abortion topic, there's this classic question. Okay, Kyle, you're in a burning building, and you see your child off to the right. And then to the left, you see a bunch of, test tube babies. Right? They've already come into being. They're already a specific individual with a DNA code, right? They're already a human life, and you see 1,000 of them in these test tubes in a little briefcase, and you could pick it up. And then you see your kid. Now, you can't pick up both of them. Now, we both know in real life you'd go get your kid first and then go get the briefcase and run out of there, right? You have enough time. But this is a hypothetical situation to prove a point, so for that, you cannot get both. You have to choose between the 1,000 lives to be born, but they're still lives, or your child. Now, that's a pretty shitty question. Because any sane human being, if you put them in that situation, you could not blame them for going after their kid and getting him and getting the hell out of that fire. But rationally, logically speaking, you should go after the briefcase because that's 1,000 more people than your kid. We have principles, we have rules, we have reasons to be, we have things we should do, we have rules to follow. But where's that line? Me personally, I have no clue. Go back to the first few episodes. I know nothing. That's why I'm sitting in this closet, rather hot, by the way, trying to figure out what to do here. Am I for sale? Is there something that will stop me from saving my own child versus 1,000 lives? Well, in that case, pure rationality, pure logic will get me to go and save the briefcase. because that's 1,000 people. And by the way, 1,000 multiplied by the amount of kids that those 1,000 will have, it goes to 1 million rather quickly. That goes to 100 million rather quickly. The amount of lives that my one kid can create, well, it's pretty high, but it's not the briefcase. So what do you do? What do we do? Are there rules we need to follow? And this goes back to one of my episodes in the first season. You know, are there rules? Are there principles? Are there ideas that we can never break, that we always have to follow? And so I'm going to rewind back to however many minutes ago and go back to the whole, would you murder someone to save your kid? And I think the answer should be and is no. Because what you're doing, in my muddled brain, my post-work, post-shower, ready-to-go-to-bed brain, what you're doing to save your child is you're sacrificing your soul. And then when your child looks up to you and wonders how you save them, maybe you're sacrificing their soul as well, because they're going to look at themselves and think, oh, wow, the only reason I'm alive is because someone else died. I don't know. Is that good? Is that a good thing to have in your head? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, life's a little dirty, but does it have to be that dirty? Just so you know, I have no idea how to keep going and talk about this for the next 18 minutes, because I don't know. I thought, honestly, when I was in the shower, I thought, easy answer. No, Kyle, you're not for sale. You're not going to jump off the bridge for $1 billion because you wouldn't do it for free and you're full of principles and blah, 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 blah. But now that I'm talking with you, I have no clue. I don't know what the right thing to do is. So let's go back. And I know I've opened up a lot of worms here, a lot of cans, but let's go back a little bit. Hey, Kyle. Would you kiss a dude for $1,000? Well, $1,000 is a lot of money, but it wouldn't quite pay off all of my credit card debt, and I'd have to kiss a dude to do it. Now, I'm not like anti-gay or anything, but I am certainly anti-me kissing a dude. So, you know what? Probably not for $1,000. Nah, I'm okay. I'm just going to work a little bit more to pay off my credit card. Okay, Kyle. Okay, Kyle. Would you kiss a dude for $1 million? Okay, so I have a fiance, right? I have a house I want to buy. I have a life I want to live. I have a life that I want to give my fiance. $1 million would go a long way to satisfying all that. And all I got to do is kiss a dude? Like, whatever. Like, I'm perfectly secure in my masculinity. I'm not concerned about this. It's a momentary instance of discomfort for a potential lifetime of financial support, because I know I'd like to think I'd handle my $1 million pretty well. But then what am I saying? What am I saying in that moment? Am I saying that I'm for sale? That no matter what you ask me to do, as long as there's a specific dollar amount, I'll do it? Okay, Kyle, would you kiss a guy for $645,000? I mean, where's the line? I am certainly, if for free and for any small amount of money, I would never kiss a dude. I'm not anti-gay person or anything. I just think it's kind of gross for me personally to kiss a dude. And I would never do it for free. I wouldn't do it for $100. I wouldn't do it for $1,000. And I don't know what that is. You know, I feel like there's a principle somewhere in there that's stopping me from saying yes right away. And maybe that principle is something like, well, you know, 20 years down the road, if my wife looked to me and said, wow, you know, Kyle, all of a sudden you just had $1 million and then our life became better. Like, what'd you do? And I'd go, well, I kissed a dude. I didn't work hard. I didn't do anything to sacrifice it. I just kissed a dude. Like, I feel like that'd be kind of embarrassing. And also, if I just had to kiss a dude to get $1 million, I feel like the $1 million, I don't know if I'd spend it the right way. Like, I'd pay off all my debt, obviously. I'd buy a house, obviously. But then it's just $1 million extra bucks, right? Like, I mean, I wouldn't have had it anyway, so I might as well do whatever I want. Maybe I want a nice car. Maybe I want some good food. Maybe I want to go out to eat for a month straight. I want to go to 5-star Michelin star restaurants for a month straight. Because whatever, I didn't have this $1 million 2 days ago, but I have it now, and it's kind of free money, so why not work for it? But if I worked for it, I would be less likely to spend it on trivial things. If I had spent 5 years making $100,000 and there was this $78,000 supercar that was awesome, I might not buy it because I'd go, well, do you really need a supercar in Key West? Do you really need that, Kyle? But if it was free money, then it would be well, yeah, it's an investment, right? I'll just buy it, I'll put it in the garage somewhere, keep it somewhere. I still got $30,000. Why not? But then I only have $30,000. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I have no idea what to do with this question. Maybe I'm making it a lot more complicated than it is. Maybe the answer is yes, Kyle. We're all for sale. Suck it up. We have principles, but we can massage them a little bit. We don't have to stick by them all the time. Because think about it, Kyle. If you sacrifice one of your principles for money now, then it'll be easier for you to keep your principles in the future. Well, that sounds tempting. Tempting. It sounds tempting. What sounds bad about temptation? I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it. So the question is, would you rather honestly be poor, or would you rather be rich for a dumb reason? And maybe there's a better way to articulate that question. Okay, let me think about that for a second. Okay. Would you rather be moderately well off and work your butt off until you retire? Or would you rather do one cheap trick and be set for the next 10 years? Well, I have a question for you. Are you ready to have that much money? Am I ready to have that much money? And I've thought about this for quite some time, probably since I was in my teens. I've always thought of money as an amplifier for the soul, or for character. Money amplifies character. Now, you hear quotes like, money is the root of all evil, money corrupts, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe that, necessarily. But what I do believe is that if you are a bad person, then money makes you a worse person. But if you're a good person, then maybe money makes you a better person. Money amplifies character. Now, if my character isn't set properly, and I'm given $1 billion for breaking my leg, what will happen? Well, sure, my financial problems will all be solved. My fiance and I will have a lovely house. We'll have 2 beautiful cars that we can take to work. We don't have to worry about working because we have $1 billion. But what's going to happen to our soul? What's going to happen to us? Are we going to be happy? Are we going to be content? What are we going to do with our free time? Are we going to talk into a microphone in our closet? Are we going to have kids? Are our kids going to have a good life even though they have everything they ever wanted? We all know that kids who have everything they ever wanted are not necessarily good kids, right? The words spoiled brats come into mind. And we all know that the individuals that most of us look up to, the people who we see in society who are the bravest, the best, well, they tend to have come from nothing. They tend to have built themselves up because they had nothing. So does money really solve problems? And I know every single one of you listening, including myself who's talking, would go, yeah, money would solve a lot of my problems right now. Clearly. But I guess we're talking about excess here. So if I gave you exactly enough money to pay off your debt, to buy a house and a car, and then nothing, would you be happy? Would you be able to maintain the house and the car? Would you be the kind of person worthy of the house in the car. And I guess that's what I was trying to figure out in the shower 25 minutes ago. If you jumped off a cliff and broke your leg and got $1 billion, would you be the kind of individual, Kyle, that was worthy of that amount of money? And quite frankly, I think no. Now, I think I'm pretty darn dandy. You know, I have a gal who tells me, you know, she's proud of me. She admires me. I have parents who say they're proud of me. I have coworkers who say they look up to me. I have a lot of individuals. I have a lot of anecdotal evidence that tells me I'm doing all right. But I don't know. At the end of it all, I don't know if money would actually solve my problems. And so instead, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of looking for some shortcut, instead of trying to cheat fate, instead of trying to find the gold at the end of the rainbow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept that where I am is because of who I am. And I'm going to accept that if I want to be what I want to be, then I have to work for it. I have to go to work early. I have to stay late. I have to take on responsibilities that I don't necessarily get paid for. I have to do things to make money. I have to work and sacrifice. And I have to build my character. I have to become a better person. And in return, maybe I will find the kind of life that I yearn for. Geez, who uses the word yearn? Well, I do. As I sit in my closet, looking at my moderately priced Hawaiian shirts. And you know what? I kind of like it here. I'm in my super overpriced apartment. By the way, just so you know, this apartment, now I have a roommate, so I only pay half. This apartment costs $3,600 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And it's less than 700 square feet. Think about that. And I look around. Well, okay, I look around. There's not much to look at because I'm in my closet. But I look around, and you know what? I'm damn happy to be here. Because I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I know what I have. I know what I want. And I feel pretty good about it. You know? I feel pretty darn good about it. And I know that in the future, I know that maybe even 2 years from now, I know that 5 years from now, I will have worked to create a better life for myself, my fiance, and if we're talking 5 years, my family. I'll know that I didn't have to do some cheap trick to make $1 billion. My soul, my character will be better off because of it. Does any of that make sense? Am I just way overthinking this? Am I way too taking this seriously? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. I really think that money is not the answer. You do not need all of the things we think we need. And by the way, I say this having a brand new smartphone. The Galaxy S23 trademark. I do not own this product. I do not, whatever. I don't know what you have to say after you talk about a product, but I have the brand new Samsung. I have a pretty new Kia Forte, 2019. I'm the only one who's driven it. It's pretty great. I have a 65-inch TV screen in my living room. It's great. I have an $800 Lego Millennium Falcon. Like, all right. I've made some financial choices that maybe I shouldn't have otherwise. But I know that now. And I'll tell you what. For the past for the past month and a half, while my fiance has been gone on vacay to her country, I've spent not so much money. The money I've spent has really only been on food and rent. And what's funny is that I've actually become happier in that time. Somewhat because of my workout routine that I've started. By the way, not easy. turns out, if you know me, you're not surprised by this. It turns out I'm a lazy bastard. I've done a good job of working out, but if you counted the amount of times I've worked out in the past 6 weeks, it's not 6 times 7. So that's unfortunate. It's not even 6 times 6. It's more like 6 times 3. So that's unfortunate. However, I still weigh less than I did. And I'm still in better shape than I was, but I didn't do as good of a job as I did, or as I said I was going to. So, but hey, you know what? That still helps me be happier. The gal and I are doing great, by the way. Distance certainly does make the heart grow fonder, as they say. It's certainly true. Life is going up. And by the way, this month in the gallery has been absolutely total crap. I haven't made very much money, but I feel like who I am, my soul, my character, is better than it was a mere 2 months ago. Can I put a dollar amount on that? Am I for sale? Are you for sale? I'm going to close with an anecdote. And I haven't told this story up until now. It's coming up on a year old. And, you know, I've told my parents, I've told the people I care about that I will never talk about this story on this podcast because it kind of defeats the purpose. But it's old enough now, and I won't go into too much detail. So I'll just be very brief. At my old job, before the art gallery, at a restaurant when I was a supervisor, I did something that I knew was the right thing to do. I knew it. And since then, everyone else I told the story to has agreed it was the right thing to do. I did something that was the right thing to do, and I got fired for it. Now, at the time, I was making enough money to comfortably live. I wasn't saving anything, and if I was, it was very small. But I was making enough money to A, pay off my apartment, B, eat nice, and C, pay my car off, and D, buy some other stuff I enjoyed. And then the time came where I did this thing, and there was a moment where I could have saved my job. But if I had saved my job, it would have cost me something. A lot more than money can buy. It would have cost me part of my soul. It would have cost me part of me. And instead, I looked at my HR director, I looked at my managers, and I said, no. And then I was fired. But you know what? I really think that I am infinitely better off than I was if I were to have said, oh yeah, sure. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. No, I'm sorry. Monetarily speaking, I've been very stressed out. And I'm not trying to go, oh, woe is me, I'm so sad. No, I mean, the gallery has been very profitable for me. But at the same time, it hasn't. If I were to actually equal everything out, it's just a little bit less than the restaurant. But you know what, though? I'm happier. My soul is safer. My character is safer. Who I am is better than I would have been if I had said, yeah, for that job. And so maybe that translates to this entire question. If you would say no for no money, then maybe you should say no to $1 billion. Because your soul, who you are, might just be more important than everything else in the entire world. Now, if we go back to what I talked about with you, if you have a kid, well, we're not even going to talk about that right now. We're going to pretend you're the only person we're talking about, you and your gal or guy. Your soul, maybe your soul is not for sale and shouldn't be. And if you sell your soul for whatever reason, it might not be the best for you. And Here we go. Half an hour in, and I'm not going to lie to you, I do not have an answer. I don't know. So this has been a good ramble in the closet, I'd say. A good vodka-infused ramble in the closet, I might say. I'm going to leave saying that my soul is not for sale. If I would not do something moral for money, if I would not do something immoral for free, then I will not do it for any amount of money. And I want to believe that I would do that. I want to really believe that I could hold to that. And maybe there's a reason for that. But I, honestly, if I'm being honest, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. But hey, you know what? That's why you're here for. Okay, so at GKEI... Wait, hold on. At Good Knowledge, Evil Ignorance. Yeah, GKEI 2023 on the Twitter. I haven't changed the name yet because I don't think you can. But this is now called Rambling in a Podcast. Rambling in a Closet Podcast. You know how to reach me. You know how to contact me. Don't be wimpy. Come on. You know you want to ask some questions. Don't be afraid to. I'd love to answer them. And I'll talk to you more in the closet next time. Thank you for listening. This is Kyle, Rambling in a Closet. Have a good one.